Hello parses, in today's video we are going to see the verb there is and there are in Spanish, which is haber. But this is very tricky because we have two meanings with this verb. So the first one is the auxiliary verb for the perfect tenses, that is we have done, we have become, so hemos ido, nos hemos convertido. So that's why we are going to see the other use, that is existence. For instance, there is one person over here teaching Spanish, or there are two people in my room. Yeah? So, and this is hay tres personas, hay dos personas, o hay una persona dictando español. So that's why we are going to see the different uses or the different nuances of this verb talking about existence. So the first use that we are going to talk about is hay, which is there is or there are. So for example, there is one chair in the kitchen. ¿Sí? Hay una silla en la cocina. So, but we are going to say that in plural. There are many chairs in the kitchen. Yeah? So when you say that in plural, so you are going to say it in singular in Spanish as well. Hay muchas sillas en la cocina. So there is no change. So that's why there isn't, for instance, ein or an. So it is wrong to say ein or an because it doesn't exist. Number two is when we are talking about people. And for instance, we have a reservation and we want to say there are two of us. So how do you say that in Spanish? Even native speakers, they say habemos cuatro personas o habemos dos personas, which is incorrect. It's wrong. So that's why the best way to translate that is hay cuatro personas conmigo. Yeah, for using the same pattern, we are going to say hay in singular. Yeah, for instance, there are 5 of us, so we are going to say hay 5 personas conmigo. So number 3 we have there was and there were. So in past tense. So but in Spanish remains singular. For instance, we are going to talk about an accident. And we say, there was an accident yesterday. So what we want to say in Spanish is, hubo un accidente. But if we're going to refer to something in plural, it remains in singular in Spanish. For instance, there were 3 accidents yesterday. So we are going to say, hubo 3 accidentes. The same when we are going to talk about people. So, if, for instance, there were 3 people in the concert tonight, or last night, sorry. So, we are going to say, había 3 personas en el concierto. And if you want to say that in singular, it's the same. Había una persona en la casa. There was a person in the house. It doesn't change. So, there are many people that ask me, but teacher, when to use these expressions, for instance, HABÍAN and HUBIERON, because people say it, right? So, yeah, but this is the auxiliary verb for these past perfect tenses. For instance, habían llegado a la fiesta cuando yo me caí. So, they had arrived to the party when I fell down. Yeah, the first action is that they had arrived to the party, and the second action is that I fell down. But this is the auxiliary verb. This is not the verb of existence that I was talking about, right? So for instance, and there is another one that is hubieron. Hubieron means, for instance, they had left the party when I fell down. But this is, for instance, in other contexts in literature. In this book as well, we have so many expressions like that because in literature we can use that. But in the real world, we don't use hubieron for nothing. So, and finally, if you want to say something like there will be, or there must be, or there have been, so you want to use also the singular, right? So there will be many exams at the end of this year. So you want to say that. Habrá muchos exámenes al final del año. There will be a lot of parties after the semester. Entonces, habrá muchas fiestas después del semestre. So, and if you want to say there must be, debe haber. For instance, there must be a lot of sugar in my house. Debe haber mucha azúcar en mi casa. Or, there have been a lot of riots over here. Ha habido muchas protestas o mucho caos en mi ciudad. So that's all for today, guys, and comment below what kind of topics you want me to talk about, and see you in the next video. Bye bye, parses!